Hello and welcome to Blackfeather Guild. Tonight we're continuing our Sci-Fi Saturdays. We're going to do Animus Absentis, which is going to be episode 3. Last week, the crew managed to... I'm trying to think of how exactly to put this. It wasn't quite prevent a crisis or solve a crisis, but in the end, I think everybody ended up being somewhat better off, except for the big evil corporation, which nobody cares about. So it all kind of worked out in the end. But now they're essentially past their tutorial level of the game, if you will, and are going to be making their own decisions as far as where to go and what trouble to get into. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they come up with tonight. Before we meet the cast and jump into the story, though, I did want to talk a little bit about viewer actions. Also, give you the results of the poll. So the poll was, how long will it take the crew to get into big trouble? And the majority of the votes were 20 minutes out of the option of 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. So it's good to know that the audience has 20 minutes of faith, 20 minutes worth of faith in you to not get into trouble. But as I mentioned, viewer actions. I'm just going to toss the tweet of the game link here in chat, because that is the easiest way to interact. Every 10 interactions on that tweet, we'll get a D4 to the cast and a D4 to me as the DM to use on any roll that we would like. It's a pretty handy little extra boost to rolls there. And interactions are just likes, retweets, and comments. So every 10 of those, that's when we'll see that D4 show up. It's a really easy way to participate. Another way you can do so is through guild coins, and you get those just by watching the stream. So if you are subscribed, you get them at twice the rate. You can see a little bit about what you can get with those right over here. Plot points allow you to interject things into the game, anywhere from like renaming a business that the crew comes across or a space station or something like that, all the way up to pretty major ones. We did have one of those redeemed earlier before we even got started. Jay redeemed 4 plot points. So now introducing Ren is going to be a new NPC, an old friend of the crew's and old rival of Sparky's, who helps the party out of a bind but asks a favor in return. So with that, I will actually be working that into the story at some point, if at all possible. If I don't get to it this session, it'll still carry over to the next one. So it's a way that you can actually put things into the game. I may edit it, or whoever the DM is may edit it a little bit to make it fit a little bit better into the story that's happening. But we try to stick as close as possible to what it is. So it gives you a chance to kind of help DM the game. It's pretty fun. Aside from that, there are ways to donate to get viewer actions as well. A number of different ways that you can do so. If you look at this chart right over here at the bottom, you'll see coffee.com/Raven or Raven.rocks. Those two sites will allow you to directly donate to the stream. Helps keep the lights on and so forth. You can also do bits and subscriptions, as we've already seen with a resub. And finally, Patreon is also an option. There's the link in chat. So our Bard tier patrons and higher get credits towards viewer actions every month that they can redeem at any point. Bard tier is $15 a month, and you get $15 worth of viewer actions every month to use with that, in addition to all the other stuff that you get with it, content and art and things like that. So yeah, those are all the different ways that you can participate. Just real briefly, I know some of these are not entirely self-explanatory, so I'm going to do a quick review of the viewer actions. The D4 and D6, you get added to the rolls. The switch allows you to change the action word or the verb of another player. For example, let's use the classic, the bard wants to seduce the dragon. If somebody else has a switch, be it the cast or the DM, they can say switch, and they have to change seduce to something that's not a synonym. So it's a fun way to nudge the story in different directions if you're the player or the DM and you happen to have one. Roll with advantage and re-roll means you roll twice and take the better of the two options. The advantage just has to be called beforehand, whereas the re-roll can be done after the fact. So the re-roll is a little bit more powerful. Complication is a lot like plot points, except you can do pretty much whatever you would like. 1 to 3 sentences of anything at all you want to add to, change about, or remove from the scene that's happening, and we will put that into the story. Again, the DM may edit it slightly if it's something particularly game-breaking, like if we're in a boss fight and you go, the boss fight just falls over dead. that might cause some problems. So we may edit that, but generally we'll try to stick as close as possible to what you put in. So the complication is kind of like spending 6 or 8 plot points all at once. Swap 2 players for 5 minutes. They will swap characters, so the different cast members will play each other's characters for 5 minutes, including the DM. So you could actually have me playing one of the characters tonight for 5 minutes, and that player DMing for 5 minutes. It's pretty entertaining when it happens. And then finally, the one up. For this system, Fundamental RPG, there is a set number of hit points. If you reach 0, you fall unconscious, and if you go a certain amount below that, you die. So if somebody does have a 1-up, rather than go to 0 hit points, or if they would go even further than that down to the death point, instead of that happening, they'll come back with 1 hit point. So they're still in danger. It's still a perilous situation most of the time, but it gives them a fighting chance to stay alive. So if there is a character that you particularly enjoy and you really want to make sure that they live, a 1-up is a great way to help with that. I think that is everything. So we're going to go meet the cast and get started on the story. Yeah, it's going to be great. There we go. Hello, everyone. So we're going to do some introductions here. First off, normally we would start with Jay up in the top left. Jay couldn't be with us tonight, and that's why we've got the grayed out ship screen there. But I will have some stuff going on for Sparky to do, which will explain their absence. After that, we've got Vanessa. Tell us a little bit about Annie or Little Mouse and yourself. Very cool. Next, we've got Alex. Tell us a little bit about Guy or Seattle and yourself. One second. I love that you've brought the whiteboard paddle for this game. Hello, my name is Seattle. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought the no audio was because you were writing. Apparently, the cast audio was not muted. So, Vanessa, we're going to come back to you uh, for the introduction again as soon as Alex is done. Sorry about that.
I'm so no, I'm so sorry because yeah, we can all hear each other on Zoom, no problem.
It was my fault. I thought I had clicked the desktop audio option, unmute, and apparently it didn't take. So,
Anyways, hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Guy slash Seattle as he's currently known because I did not know this. It's a symbol for the Seattle Space Needle. Guy is mute. He recently found out he had a husband who was brutally murdered, and his killer never found. He has no memory of any of this, so he's kind of feeling a bit conflicted because to find out that you had a wonderful life with a loving husband, only to find out that, oh yeah, by the way, that was all taken away from you and you never found out who did it. Now you have no memory of any of that. So he is feeling a little bit He'd either like to like fix something really bad, fuck something, or kill something right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes.
For sure. All right, next we're going to go back over to Vanessa. Sorry about that. Um, tell us a little bit about Annie and yourself again. Sorry about that.
How do I do an entirely different intro now? I'm kidding. Hi. Got to keep it fresh for you guys who have heard me do it in cast, but not the viewers. No, my name is Vanessa. I'm a traditional artist. I do mainly watercolor and pencil sketch. And I play Annie, who is going by Little Mouse right now. She's not quite sure, just like everybody else who she is. She doesn't have any idea yet. And then when everybody kind of did their little search on their names, when they finally found out their names, nothing really came up for her. So she's still trying to figure out some little tidbits about herself.
Yeah. Suspiciously low amounts of stuff for Annie at that.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for doing the intro again. Appreciate it. Next, we've got Jacques. Tell us a little bit about the Doctor and yourself.
So I am Jacques. I will be playing the Doctor. The Doctor has a mysterious past which we have not gotten into yet, but the Doctor is not only the Doctor of surgery, the Doctor is also the Doctor of the mind.
Awesome.
So far, the Doctor has been minimal in interacting with situations, and I hope to keep it that way.
The Doctor has had a great supervisory role so far, with really good advice and little like interjections here and there. It's been really cool.
That is how
fantastic.
I want to keep it.
Perfect. Next, we've got Lisa or Goody with Gabrielle and or Android or Candroid, as some of the crew have been calling her.
Yeah, I'm Lisa or Goody, whichever, and I am a bassist and also an artist. Also traditional based with pencil sketch usually. But I play the android or the Candroid because she was elected captain, which she later found out was illegal, and she doesn't know what she thinks about that. But she found out while researching herself that the reason she doesn't really come up in any searches is because she is a unreleased Black Ops killing droid. So that's fun, but she also realized that the only reason she got elected as captain is because no one wanted to make hard decisions, and she doesn't like that. Because no one's listening to her anyway, so.
Yes, the dreaded upcoming "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" speech.
Mm-hmm.
Quick thank you to Jacques, by the way, for the resubscription, which gave the cast 2d6. Currently, we are about 2 interactions away from a d4. So again, throw the tweet link out there. Likes, comments, or retweets can bump that all the way up to 10. So as I mentioned at the intro, last week you all managed to extremely piss off a big corporation, which was Vizco, if I recall correctly. And through a lot of different phone calls with Tolan, who's a handler for you all, for different jobs, giving him probably an ulcer and some gray hairs, you managed to somewhat salvage the situation to where they're not ready to quite hunt you down and kill you, but they are cross with you still. So you've got that going on. You know that you're all previously mercenaries with a pretty badass reputation. Scary enough that for now, the Galactic Police Force, or GPF, pretty much leaves you alone. for the most part. You'd have to do something like pretty obvious, like, attack one of their ships or something like that for them to really come after you. Sorry, I have a cat hair on my nose. My cats are shedding right now. So, yeah, you've got some leeway here. You've got enough fuel to get to a number of different places if you wanted to. Your supplies are a little bit low, but not, in danger of running out anytime, in the immediate future. And you know a tiny bit about your past lives, enough to know that I think, as we said, I can't remember if it was the first session or the second one, there's definitely a "are we the bad guys" moment. And the answer seemed to be a sort of yes, probably. But you essentially get a new start, at least for yourselves. So what do you want to do? Where do you want to go from here?
I want to work to decipher my files.
Okay. You can definitely work on that. I believe it's having you roll education for that.
Yes. And I do not have learned, so. Oh, did we level up?
Yeah, I believe you all went to level. You all went to level 3. I would like to fix the dent outside alone. Okay.
Did I add the points and forget to? No, I did not add the points.
I did not add my points either. I gotta go and do that.
Yes.
No worries.
I shall absolutely do that.
We're level 3, right?
Yes.
Yes, you are currently level 3.
I think I did it last time. Looking at my numbers, I'm going to say that I did.
If you have any skill with 3 skill points in it, then you probably did.
Yeah, I do. Okay, yeah, I did.
Cool.
Probably because I knew I would forget, so I just did it.
Excuse me.
Well, if Seattle wants to work on the ship, then I can't really jump into hyperspace, so I guess I'll hold off on that.
Okay.
Didn't we want to unload some of our cargo somewhere?
You do still have a lot of guns that you wanted to sell, and I think, if I remember right, there's been a lot of different games between now and last week, but if I remember right, you did find a space station which was a hub for that sort of thing. Sort of a free trade station where you could sell those guns without having to worry about a lot of restrictions and procedures and things like that. Licenses, that sort of thing.
Well, I'm the captain, so I'm gonna take us there.
Okay. Yeah, you can absolutely start heading that way just on your regular, for lack of a better word at the moment, we'll call them impulse engines.
Okay.
And yeah, you definitely want to have nobody on the outside of the ship when you jump to FTL.
Yeah, I figured that probably wouldn't end well.
Yeah, not so much. Gee, you're really trying my patience today, kiddo. My cat's being a disaster child lately. Okay. So, Guy, you want to work on that dent. So I assume you're going to put on an EV suit before going out into space.
Yes. I'm almost done updating my character sheet. 1 second.
No worries. I am horrible at figuring out how to pronounce names, but Eldarian? I'm going to assume I'm saying that right. Yes, this is a futuristic space thingy campaign. We're basically doing Sci-Fi Saturdays. So this is a sci-fi show where the crew has lost all their memories.
Now you said roll education, but I have I put my 2 points in trade. So can I use that?
What trade would you like to use?
Because I would like to flavor this as remembering my trade as psychiatrist.
I don't know a lot of psychiatrists who specialize in encryption as a part of their daily
Wonder-
occupation.
That is why I asked. That is why I asked.
It was a good try, but
That is why I
yeah,
asked.
I'm gonna have to say no.
So roll education.
Yeah. As a quick reminder, you do have 1d4, 3d6, and 1 switch available to the cast. But a
use
19 is
D4.
enough to get you started.
I'll
Sure.
use a D4.
Okay. That
Oh.
will
And that is
that
that will make it 20.
that does make a little bit of a difference. So last week when you were working on this, you got the word cartel, and you were looking at. Remind me, whose file were you looking at?
My own.
Your own, okay. So yeah, you made out the word cartel, and this week with a 20, you're able to decipher a few different things. I'm gonna say you probably find the word malpractice in the file, and hired by in front of the word cartel.
Well, malpractice does not sound like me, but the rest. Sounds good.
And we can work on what direction that goes in between sessions if you would like, if you have thoughts on that. So Guy, I'm gonna assume you get the EV suit. There's enough on the ship for everybody to have one.
Great.
Probably a couple of extras as well. Now, how do you go about doing these repairs? Just like walk me through what you do from the getting to the airlock to getting to the dent.
Puts the clamps on the boots and takes a bit of a spacewalk out over to the area, and
Okay.
basically works on like removing the panels as needed and to like solder them to place once they've been smoothed back out and stuff, and basically making sure anything underneath them hasn't been damaged too much, or if he's going to have to deal with meander on the inner hull, which is a tighter space but doable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, give me a sight roll as you're looking around. None of that sounds like it really needs a skill check of any kind other than look around.
Sorry, my brain is just fried. So that's a sight check.
And no worries. Yes, sight. So 21. All right, with a 21, as you're looking around, yeah, you don't see a whole lot of damage. You do see the big dent right away, and it's definitely damaged. By that I mean more like dented. A handful of the armor plates kind of hit on a seam.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that there is a little bit of a gap. Starship scale, it's negligible, but you could fit your whole arm in there. So there is some of the space between the inner hull and the outer hull that's exposed to space. Quick glance, you're able to see that it's something to do with the cooling system, and would probably explain why one of those pipes had the issue that it had.
I can at least get this sealed back up before I go inside and basically go over the cooling system and make sure there's no stressed areas.
Okay. If you'd like to repair that.
I do have a specialization in engineering tools.
That will work. You can apply it here, and let's do 3 mechanical engineering rolls. 1 to remove the plates, 1 to fix them, and 1 to replace them. You remove them just fine. You get them perfectly smooth. They
And
look
I haven't even added
almost
the bonus.
okay. Yeah, you make them almost look
Bonus
almost new.
Plus 2 to all those.
Oh, nice. And
I
then
specialized him for engineering. That was like my only focus
Oh, I see the
on
choice
him
of-
for a while was engineering.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the 27 was to remove them. So yeah, you remove them just fine. You smooth them out pretty well. They're not flawless, but it's smooth and it's just kind of scratched up paint. And then yeah, you put them back in really quickly. All in all, you're only out there for maybe a couple hours. Whereas you might expect like an average mechanic to take 4 on that. So you did the job pretty quickly.
Right, now I'm gonna go back inside so I can go back into the inner hull and check over the coolant systems on the inside. Where nobody can find me in the
awesome.
walls.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to get back in, no problems. So Android, after a couple hours, your sensors would show if Seattle didn't indicate before that that Seattle is back on board.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go on the intercom and say we'll soon be moving into FTL.
Okay.
And just leave it at that.
Okay.
Go back to reading
Annie-
a manuscript I found online about leadership skills.
I love it. All right. Annie, what are you doing while all this is happening?
That is a good question. What is Annie doing? Let's see. I think Annie was probably the only one who didn't spend an extensive amount of time in her own quarters. So I feel like maybe she would go back and try to kind of sift through a little bit more to see if her belongings or anything like that would give her any more information other than what they looked up.
Okay. Let's do a sight roll
Wait.
to examine your quarters. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
At this point, no. I think she's just looking for anything that she can start with.
Okay. So a 23. With a 23. You find in your quarters a notebook. And the notebook has various names with no context written in it, and they seem to be like brand names, or company names. But the weird thing about it is each page just has one name written in the top right-hand corner, and doesn't appear to have any other text on the page. And each name is spaced out 10 pages. But it's a very pretty notebook, and it's got one of those fancy elastic little straps to keep it closed, and even a little spot for a pen.
Okay. She's gonna take just a like a pencil or whatever she has and try to lightly go over any of the pages to see if there's like any indents of past writing.
Okay, that's pretty smart. Let's take a look at a character sheet here real quick. What skill do I want to have used for this? I think I'm gonna go with education on this one. Yeah. So 16. Yeah, you try to pencil over just real lightly, you're looking for indentions and things like that. You don't see anything on the page except for in the bottom left-hand corner, so right next to the binding. There's one tiny little dot indentation where it looks like somebody might have put like a ballpoint pen and just pushed down a little bit. And that's the only thing you see on the page.
She closes it back up and puts it back.
Okay. Would you like to look around more?
Yeah. Does she have any she wants to see if she has any like a personal tablet or computer or anything like that in her quarters?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's quarters has basically like a desktop computer type deal. It's a data console with a built-in little desk where you can access kind of your own personal station, but it's also tied into the ship's computer, so you can access stuff on the whole ship as well from there.
Okay, she's gonna boot that up then.
Okay. It boots up and asks you for a password.
She places her fingers on the keys, and just she tries to remember if anything comes through, like if there's any like muscle memory, if she can think of anything that could possibly be the data that needs to be put in.
Okay. What is your recall? Your passive skill?
10.
10. That's pretty good. I think as you sit there kind of trying that route, you're able to remember the first couple of letters of the password. But as you try to do the last letters, you kind of lose it. It's like when you remember the first 3 digits of a phone number or something like that, and then you're like, wait, was it a 5 or was it a 2? I can't remember, that kind of thing. But the first 2 letters are P and E.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she's gonna let that stew for a little while. Then she'll just back out of it.
Okay. So player knowledge. It's also important to note here that Annie's is the only computer that's been checked so far that had a password protection on it.
Dun dun dun.
Indeed. Okay. So you're in FTL. You're headed towards the space station, right?
As far as I know. I didn't tell anyone. Okay.
So the android knows you're going to the space station. None of the rest of you quite know where you're going. Does anybody have an issue with that? Does anybody go investigating? What are you doing while you're on the trip?
On the trip, the doctor is going to basically just if there's a meditation room, I would like to go there.
Not exactly a meditation room. There is an exercise room, sort of like
Or
a
my
little
office.
gym. Yeah, there's the infirmary.
Absolutely, yes. And I would like to review my notes.
Okay. Yeah, all of the computerized notes as far as patient information has obviously been wiped. You do have some scattering of notes here and there. It looks like somebody did try to hastily get rid of some of them.
They probably tried to crack the code as well.
It's possible. But you can tell that what you're looking at is definitely missing a lot of pages. So it's a little hard to pinpoint what goes with what.
The more I investigate, the more I realize that this is futile. I say to myself.
Okay. Um, Guy, you don't find any issues as far as like holes or anything like that on the inner hull. If you'd like, you could roll. Let's see. You can roll tech engineering, mechanical engineering, and/or sight to see if you notice anything else that
I'm
might
gonna
be in
roll
there.
my mechanical engineering because I have a freaking huge 23.
23. Um,
What other
I will make
damage
that
is there for me to repair?
uh, you do not notice any other damage. It, we're gonna make that a 25 because you've got your engineering tools.
Right.
I'm gonna let you
Yep.
apply that. I'm trying to think of how you would notice something in mechanical terms. You notice that a couple of brackets that like hold up conduit on the bottom of the wall that you're next to, so like sort of towards the floor, are broken, almost as if somebody tried to use it as a ladder. So the bracket's kind of broken, the conduit's sagging a little bit. Doesn't do anything to damage the ship or inhibit any sort of function, but it's not as secured as it was before.
A, gonna secure that, and B, while on a ladder up there, gonna see who's been poking around up there.
Okay, so in that case, do a site or tech engineering roll.
Oh, this case. Tech engineering is a little bit better. Unless I roll a 9 and I notice nothing.
Yeah, you look up and you don't notice anything. I'll give you this with your. Well, let's see. What's your? I think it's awareness. I'm mixing up all my systems here.
Awareness. Passive skill? Yeah, it's a 12.
12. Okay. You might notice a small handprint.
Like how small? Like Sparky small?
Possibly. Yeah. Like a hand it could fit Sparky. Maybe Jock, but you're not sure. It's sort of slender fingers, smaller hand. Looks like it could belong to maybe like a young teen, or maybe a smaller adult.
Jack is gonna kind of do the whole hand up against it to kind of like get an idea comparison to his width and length and stuff, so he can just like go randomly assault his crewmates by holding up his hand against theirs.
Okay. Yeah.
If he runs into them,
you've got a pretty good idea. Yeah, you could. It would be a crude test, but you could definitely narrow it down using that method.
After all this, Guy has worked up an appetite and would like to go and get lunch. He heads for the mess hall.
All right, so you're heading to the mess hall. You've done some interesting observations inside the wall. Would anybody else like to do anything before you get to the space station, or would you like to interact with Guy in the mess hall?
Yes, I would like to search for news reports with the keyword cartel in my name.
So you do a search, and you don't find anything correlating cartel and Jacques, the doctor, or Dr. Jacques. Would you like to search with any other combination of terms?
Just Jacques and cartel and surgeon.
Yeah, nothing comes up. Those three words don't pull up any combination of articles that, or wow, words are hard. Your search doesn't pull up anything that shows those combination of words.
I feel accomplished because I've managed to stay out of the news.
Okay. That's fair. Anybody else?
Annie will go get some food.
All right. So as Annie walks in, what's Guy or Seattle preparing?
Guy seems to be making something involving eggs and potatoes.
Oh, hell yeah. That sounds delicious.
It's just like salt, pepper, eggs, potatoes. The basics.
Nice.
Things he knows he will not fuck up.
Okay. So what's Annie do when she comes in and sees that, essentially?
Annie goes over and she like leans on the counter and sticks her face over very much like, ooh, what you doing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Guy leans over. Guy looks at her, looks down, puts the utensils down, grabs her wrist, lifts her hand up, and puts his hand against hers to check and see if she's the hand.
It's. Let's do. What's your recall?
8.
8. Okay. You're not 100% sure, but you think Annie's hand might be a little bit too big to fit. But it's such a rough way of measuring that you're not 100% positive.
Annie's just
I would say.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I would say, like, maybe your suspicion is reduced, but you might still be suspicious.
Suspicious, but not confirmed. And Guy just shakes his head and gets back to cooking.
Annie says, if you wanted to hold my hand, you could have just asked.
And Guy is just rolling his eyes, and then he finds himself signing without even thinking. It's like 1 egg or 2. Like, he's done this before, but he doesn't really remember doing this before, but just for some reason he has a feeling to ask 1 egg or 2.
Annie turns and leans her back against the counter instead of being all up in his business, and she says, let's have 2.
So he cracks an extra 2 into the pan.
She just winks at him.
All right. Let's do a naturalist roll to cook the food.
Sorry,
And
I was just swinging over over Lisa Art.
can I come in at some point?
Sure. You can show up right now if you'd like.
13.
13.
Why I'm doing the most basic food.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is pretty basic food. It's kind of hard to mess up. You do a decent job. It's definitely like
It's not good scrambled eggs. It's the scrambled eggs where you crack the egg directly into the hot skillet and mix it around with the spatula.
Yes, that's perfect.
It's not good scrambled eggs. It's scrambled them. Good job.
I need to
it's not
discover
great
that.
food, but it's not bad food.
It's Annie's turn to roll her eyes.
Oh, that looks great, Lisa. Saw that as well.
Thanks.
That's how your kid likes him. That's
It's
funny.
true. She she saw me add milk one time and lost her mind.
Oh, I don't add milk. I actually use a little bit of water and soy sauce.
That would be good too.
Oh, nice.
But she was like, "No, just scramble." And I was like,
I whisk them the hell up and then I add them in 3 different timing, so you end up like with the perfect amount of like fold over it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you make a very rustic, like potato scramble type deal, but it tastes decent. That's not bad.
It's got salt.
Yeah, and probably about the time you're finishing that, that's when Jacques walks in.
Ah. I smell potatoes and eggs.
Jacques immediately gets his hand grabbed by Guy and done the whole.
Good question, Jacques. How big are the doctor's hands?
Yeah, not super big.
Okay. Probably similar to Annie. Maybe you're a little bit less suspicious of Jacques now. Less so than you are of Annie. It doesn't quite match up with what you saw. But you might be a tiny bit suspicious still.
Meh. Goes off with
Well,
his
that was
plate.
delightful.
Goes off with his plate to go and eat food. Douses it in ketchup.
Oh.
No,
Oof.
thank you.
Oof.
But Jacques
Tempted to make you roll.
does say after the interaction, that was delightful.
Nice. I'm tempted to make Seattle roll intestinal fortitude for that.
Are you kidding me? That's the
Ketchup
best
on
way
eggs
to
is
have fried
good.
eggs and potatoes is with ketchup. It's so good.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
You have it
I
on
am
toast
mostly
and
just
make it a
teasing you.
sandwich.
Exactly.
I am mostly just teasing you. I'm not a fan of ketchup on my eggs, but it's
That
not
is
that big.
fine. I know it's not for everybody, and there's a whole song about how much Canadians love ketchup on potatoes.
Ketchup on potatoes is good. That's true.
Yes, ketchup on potatoes is amazing.
Ketchup loves potatoes.
That's funny.
Don't you guys have an entire Lay's flavor that's ketchup?
Yes, well, more than Lay's. It's a regular flavor up here. Is ketchup chips. They're
You
delicious.
mean
I
to
love
tell me
them.
that that's not a thing other places?
It's
They
not.
don't.
No.
They
Nope.
only recently started doing all dressed down in the States.
Yeah.
What?
I know, right? They didn't get the amazing flavor that is all dressed chips.
You know what? The States also doesn't have corn twists.
I was gonna say human
they also
rights.
don't get the proper brand
Touche.
of Cheetos or Cheesies. Cheesies are specifically
Interesting.
Canadian because they're made with real cheese.
What the
That's
fuck?
question.
Interesting.
Yeah.
However,
Sorry.
none of these things exist in your kitchen.
Why
I'm
do you
sorry,
say
Canadians
ketchup
are
chips
going
don't
wild.
exist in the States? Because our grocery store carries them.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen them.
Ketchup, pickle,
but-
and mustard chips.
Pickle chips are amazing.
I can get pickle
but
vodka.
on the Lagrange, there are none of these
Oh,
things
man.
because you're in
There's
space,
still
headed to a
Cheetos.
space station.
AKA, everybody stop talking about chips. Raven's trying to run a game.
See, this is why Annie's in, languages and public relations.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to do before you hit the space station?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'd like
I'm
to
gonna
eat.
find Candroid next.
Okay. Is Captain Android on the bridge?
Yep.
Guy comes in, like, wiping off his beard and stuff. I was like, Captain, I need to see your hand.
My hands.
Can you please put up your hand?
Okay. She puts up her hand and
Guy compares it.
reminder that my hands are not finished.
Yep.
They do not have
Still
skin.
gonna check.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely know that
Okay.
the handprint you saw had skin. Not something I thought I'd be saying this week.
My bad.
Yeah, the guy's just looking at it like, would you like me to try and make you some skin for that?
I do not know why my arms are unfinished. At this point, I am unconcerned.
Would you like to look less like an android so people don't question you?
People will question me apparently regardless of what I look like.
Well, yeah, you have tits.
Can I help you further, Guy?
Yeah, where are we going?
A space station.
What space station?
Did we give it a name?
I did not. Would you like to name the space station you're going to?
Let's call it the Moloch.
Okay. Going to Space Station Moloch.
How much money do we have?
Unknown.
Right.
Yeah, there isn't really a ship's bank account or like credits bin or anything like that you've been able to find. So either everybody fended for themselves, or somebody was the ship's treasurer. But none of you have memories of who that would be.
I have no record of any kind of financial information regarding this ship.
Right.
However, it was stated at some point that we should probably be rid of these guns.
Oh, very, very much so. That was going to be my next question. Can you start looking up if there's anybody who buys on here? We'll probably want Annie to go in. She seems to be the best at talking to people.
This station specifically deals with this kind of less questioned sales.
And this is why we voted for you to be captain, because you're obviously a natural.
I am programmed to know when I am being condescended to.
I'm not being condescending. I have no desire to be in charge of this situation.
Well, apparently nobody else does either.
Do you blame us? Look at the situation. Do you actually want to be in charge of this situation?
I wish to fulfill any request made of me.
That's not what I'm asking you.
I was asked to be captain.
Mm-hmm. Do you
I
want to be captain?
I wish to fulfill the request.
Right. I'm really not enjoying how androids are programmed. Wow. I gotta find a way to fix that.
I'm sorry you find me unsuitable and needing to be
No,
fixed.
I just don't like how you don't have enough self-governance. Guy walks off to go and collect all the guns and make sure nobody has decided to take any of the guns.
Okay. All the guns are there and accounted for, unless somebody has decided to do something without telling me. All the guns are there and accounted for.
The
cart,
big block thing with the
vault.
yeah. Guy's gonna kind of try and do what he's done for just about everything else on this ship. He's gonna kind of like just wander over and just relax and let his fingers wander over the keypad.
Okay. Let's have you do. It's a bit weird of a role for this. You're specifically relaxing and everything, and because this is a particularly giant Chekhov's vault, I'm gonna have you roll discipline for this to see if you can put yourself in a mental state to let your muscle memory kick in.
No.
Nope. You feel nothing.
Yeah, it was worth a try.
Actually, I may have spoke prematurely because I forgot I do need to address what's up with Sparky right now. So you may have found a couple of the guns missing. Not like enough that somebody would try to sell them, but like somebody, added a couple of things to their personal armory. I love our Zoom chat right now. Plot twist: Candroid ate the guns out of spite. That seems like something that she would do.
If she could.
If she could.
I mean, I guess if anyone could eat a gun, it would probably be the android.
Yes. Who took the guns? Return now. That goes out over text to speech to everyone on the ship?
Yep.
Question mark? Okay.
Complete with the weird little emoticon Seattle Space Needle, emoticon Seattle Space Needle.
Okay.
So the guns are missing now?
2 of the guns are missing.
Okay, over intercom. How many guns are missing from inventory?
2.
Well, I was asking.
Okay. I was making sure I made it clear that it was 2.
Okay.
I think I said a couple, so... So 2. Everybody hears 2.
Yeah, that text back voice. 2.
There is a text back from Jacques. I would like to know myself what happened to the guns. None of you have heard from Sparky.
Has anyone seen Sparky? Sparky, please report to the bridge at this time.
I would like to roll gut feeling to see if I can intuit what happened.
Sure. You absolutely can. Android, you get a reply from Sparky that they're really busy working on a project, and that they will just catch up on everything when you go onto the space station.
I would like to use
Text Captain, please trade Sparky.
That is Sparky's sign now.
Okay.
I would like to use a d6 on that. That's
okay.
a 3, so 21 total.
Wait, so I got a message from Sparky?
Yes,
Okay.
you did.
This is slightly important.
So a 21 on gut feeling, and you wanting to figure out what happened with the guns?
Yes.
Your gut's telling you. Your gut's telling you that none of you all really armed yourselves up yet after that whole ordeal. So most likely somebody wanted to arm themselves for protection or for some sort of mission, perhaps. But the logical, most obvious solution would be that somebody grabbed them for personal use, not to go out and try to sell just 2 guns.
Well, over the intercom, I'm just gonna say, we are soon approaching a space station. Please use whatever arms, within reason, you would like to equip yourself with, as the rest will be sold off.
On that note, does anybody want guns?
Can I get a rifle?
I would rather
shotgun.
not. I would rather not touch a gun,
Okay, so no gun for Jacques.
regardless of
Guy
my
wants...
2 points in training in tech weapons.
Okay.
I'm a close
Guy
range killing
wants...
machine.
You are freaking
You're the
like
Terminator.
ninja blender. Guy wants a rifle. What type of rifle would you like?
I would like a rifle and a shotgun. I'm Canadian. I don't know guns.
Think like sci-fi
I've never held
guns.
a gun in my entire life, okay?
You're not missing anything.
Think like sci-fi, like you got Star Wars, Star Trek type
I
rifles
want
and
a
stuff
thing
exist.
that shoots like a shotgun, that does a spray effect, possibly using like liquid plasma so it burns through an area. Oh gosh, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Like,
Sounds like a
splatter,
Borderlands
poison,
gun.
plasma effect.
Yes,
No, you
it
want
does.
the shotgun so you
Sounds-
have the longer spray, so it stays away from you far enough. Handgun, it's too close to you, and you don't get as much of a spray. That much I do know. I like
That
shotguns.
sounds lovely.
Okay.
Well, shotguns
So
can
you
be
get a shot.
short range too, though.
Yeah, but that's what you
They
have.
are
the
short
rifle
range
for.
weapons.
Rifles for long range.
All right, you get a
shotguns for short
shotgun.
range. Knife for close up.
You
I'm thinking.
get a shotgun. It holds, we'll say 3 shots at a time. Does D10 damage. And sure, we'll say if you can get the ammunition, it can fire plasma buckshot. As for the rifle, do you want like something that shoots a lot really fast, or do you want something that like a sniper rifle type deal, or do you want something like that gun on Dark Matter that shoots like the big concussive blast
I
that
want
knocks
the
people back?
tonk gun.
Okay.
I want the tonk.
Okay, you get something like that, and that'll do. Let's say 1d12 non-lethal damage. So it's sort of like the antithesis to temporary hit points. It's like temporary damage.
So 1d12 tunk damage.
Yep, 1d12 thunk damage. Okay. What about Annie?
She'll probably just take something very small. She's not a gun girl. But you know what? Something tiny that can get the job done if she needs it.
Okay. Like a pistol, probably.
Yeah. Good enough for her.
It's like a d6 damage.
I will take my clipboard and pick up a pistol if one is available.
There is. It would also be d6.
No. If the situation if one is available in the situation when we get into a situation.
Well, it sounds like it's either
unarmed until then.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the plan is to sell off all the weapons that aren't picked up at this point. So, if you want a gun, now's the time. Even if you just like stick
I
it in
do
your
not.
quarters. Okay.
At this time,
that
can I
case-
request that Little Mouse come speak to me?
Oh no, what did she do wrong? Mom, no!
Annie's getting called to the bridge.
You're getting called to the principal's office. No. Just please report to the bridge.
All right, she goes.
That without context is terrifying.
It's like your mom using your
yeah.
middle name.
Yep.
Yep. Or we need to talk later.
Ugh, the worst. We'll talk about it when you get home.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Ugh. Oof. Okay. So do you head straight up to the bridge?
Yes.
All right. Mom droid, what happens?
Mom droid.
Just tells her, at this point, it seems clear to me that I am not supposed to be captaining this ship. I can get us into port just fine. However, I don't think I would be able to enter port. Leave the ship, if you will.
Why not?
Designated Buttface said that I am illegal.
Annie tries
So-
to cover up a little chuckle at that one.
And if sales are to be made, Guy made the suggestion that you would be good at doing so.
Gee, Android, I don't know about that one. You seem to be doing a pretty good job, but who cares what anybody else says if you're legal or not?
I do not wish to attract further attention to us.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense.
I will say this, it's probably easy enough to look up, like, standard space station guidelines. Androids are allowed on space stations. It's just, they're not allowed to hold, like, positions of authority, if you will, like a captain or something like that.
Okay, so I am allowed to, like, go places?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just being an artificial intelligence. It's sort of like AIs and androids are new enough that people are like, I'm not sure that I want to entrust piloting or captaining a ship to a robot.
A second-class citizen.
Kind of.
Yeah, okay. Well, regardless, I believe that people would expect this kind of sale to come from a human. People might be a little bit leery if an android came aboard with a large cache of weapons for sale.
Yeah, I could see how that would be a little suspicious looking. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll see what I can do.
Just simply find the best sale. I do not know how bartering works.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I've got you. I can do it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And she she goes to give Cantroid a high five.
What are you doing?
Don't tell me you don't know a high five.
I do not.
Well, it's just like a, one person holds up their hand and the other person holds up their hand, then you just kind of like, and she she demonstrates with her two hands, which is just clapping.
Candroid then just does this.
You know what, Android? That's perfect. That's good enough.
Flying.
Annie just kind of like gives her a little salute, and then she's like, "So, did you need anything else, or are you good?"
That will be all.
Okay, perfect. Well, if you need me again, just give me a shout.
If you see Sparky, send him my way.
Will do. And she leaves.
Okay. All right. Are you going to look for Sparky, or are you just getting ready to head off?
Yeah, she'll probably just go try to deliver the message.
Okay. So he's in his quarters. The door is locked. But you can use like the intercom to talk to him.
Yeah, she'll do that. Probably just the easiest way. And just lets him know that the android's looking for him.
Yeah. I'll talk to them in a bit.
And then she just goes about her business because she did her end of the job.
All right. Well, you all make it to the space station. Pretty uneventful trip, for the most part. You're cleared to dock. Who would like to dock the ship? I'm assuming Android, but I don't want to steamroll anybody.
In the time before we dock, like when we're in transit, I would like to talk to Android myself.
Okay.
Okay. Do I need
Go
to
right
roll
ahead.
something to parallel park?
Tech engineering, yeah.
I would like to posit to the android that maybe I would be qualified to be figurehead captain if anyone asks. And you could just be captain.
Do you feel that you would be able to be presented as a believable captain?
I believe I am professional enough.
Is that all that is required to be a captain?
Captains usually require skills in management as well as being presentable.
I suppose if anybody asks, you could state that you are the captain. I have no issue with that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So long as you are willing to take the responsibility that goes with somebody assuming that you are the captain.
Absolutely.
Let me ask the other crew members. I'm just over the intercom. The doctor wishes to be figurehead captain. Is there an issue with this? I would remain status as captain. But if anybody was curious, we would simply point to him. Where is
Annie comes back and just says, "No problem here."
It appears Guy wishes that Little Mouse be acting captain. I'm sorry, Alex, what did that say?
I couldn't read it.
I couldn't read it either.
As my something?
Have my
Vote.
vote.
Vote. Okay.
This is not a vote I can participate in. You may argue it amongst yourselves.
So it sounds like nobody was opposed?
Well, it sounds like Guy is opposed because he wants Little Mouse.
Oh, Annie has your vote. Gotcha.
I rolled a 10 for tech engineering, and I have. Do I have something that adds to that? Would learn it affect that? No.
No. Unfortunately. You've got a couple of D6. You could potentially use one of
I'll
those
use a
to
D6.
possibly get you a 15.
I hope so.
Seeing her get us out of trouble, Doc hasn't shown that.
Yeah, I'll use a D6.
Okay. Go ahead.
Nat 1.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Oh no. You've seen Galaxy Quest,
A
right?
long time ago, but yeah.
You know that scene where the actors are all in the spaceship and taking it out for the first time, and it just like slowly drifts into the wall, and just this god awful scraping noise as it just scratches the paint all along the side.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happens. You see people frantically running around, like on the on the sealed part of the airlock, frantically trying to do things to remedy the situation. The good news is you don't critically damage anything. The bad news is you scraped up the docking bay, and the side of the ship has like this long white streak across it.
Nice.
Never mind. Talk and be acting captain.
Not my problem anymore.
Captain or pilot?
What
So
skill does
yeah,
piloting
it's
require?
tech engineering.
Guess who's got the highest pool in that out of the
Exactly.
crew?
The engineer.
Yeah. Oddly enough, apparently not the android.
I'm just gonna say that the android was talking to the doctor and trying to focus on both things at once, okay?
Too much multitasking. Okay. So yeah, you managed to not critically damage anything.
Good.
And
Somewhere in the distance, we can just hear the silent screams of Seattle.
I just
Yep.
fixed this. I just fixed it.
What is
as soon
Seattle's
as-
skill in tech engineering?
So you all get a comm
11.
from Sparky. Actually,
Oh.
probably just Android. They say, I've got to go. I gotta go look up something that I found on the net. I'll catch back up with you. And then, if anybody's near the airlock, like right as you're docking, you'd probably hear the door being opened and Blister or Sparky slipping out. Otherwise, it would just be Android that would notice that.
Android's not gonna say anything.
Sparky is being very mysterious and
Suspect.
suspicious. But it was Marlock. Was that the name of the station?
Moloch.
Moloch. So you've docked, sort of, at
Sort of.
Moloch Space Station. And who all is going aboard? So
Annie.
Guy, Seattle, Annie.
By the way, Guy
Spark.
isn't going in his usual engineering grub that you've seen him in so far. Oh no. That
Okay.
picture I drew, Guy, that's how he's going to the space station.
Yay!
He's going
The
in
Hawaiian
laced
shirt?
up the sides, tight leather, tight black leather pants, the silk pastel floral short sleeve the button down shirt, and the fucking like burnt umber cowboy boots,
Wonderful.
Nice.
Jacques is going.
and a leather jacket.
Okay.
Jacques is going in full suit and tie.
Okay. Very cool. Wow is right. That's awesome. Okay. And then Android, are you staying with the ship?
Yeah.
Or are you going on space station?
She
Okay.
has no reason to socialize or anything, so she's just going to sit
That's
down
fair.
somewhere.
Okay. Well, as you all step onto the space station, you can see a lot of people frantically trying to repair some things that have inexplicably been toppled over or bent or scraped. And there is like a shipyard foreman kind of guy that walks up with a clipboard and says, what was that?
I believe our navigation systems need recalibrating.
Guy just gestures to dock.
Uh-huh, recalibrating. Alright. Wait, your navigation systems. That doesn't usually have much to do with the thrusters. Have you been drinking?
Absolutely not.
Roll charm.
Charm. Wonderful. I will probably need a d6 for this, but let's see. Yes, I shall use a d6.
Okay.
Because 13 is...
That puts you
Ooh,
down.
18! 18 is enough.
Okay, So that puts you down to 1d4 and 1 switch available. Went through asteroids, thought I got all repairs. Yeah, the navigation and the thrusters usually are on the same system. That sounds a little suspect, but with an 18 on your charm, he believes you that you haven't been drinking and just thinks you're all incompetent instead. So, good news is he doesn't bring any security along. But he does hand you a sheet of paper. He's like, all right, well, not including repairs to your ship, if you're wanting us to do that, here's the bill for the damage to the station.
Let's Doctor take it.
Yeah, Doc takes it and puts it on his clipboard.
Okay. The total says
More than we can
1,000
afford.
credits. Yeah, 1,000 credits. None of you have particularly found money on your person, considering you had no possessions when you came out of cryo. But I'll say you probably each have around 50 credits, just that you found probably like on your desk or in your drawers or something like that in your quarters.
Which gives us no idea if 1,000 credits is a lot or if it's basically just like a small fine.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's like you the bumper fell off your car and you've got to get it repaired at the mechanic. Kind of expensive.
I believe we need to sell these guns.
The foreman just looks at you and goes, "I'm not looking to buy guns. I need credits."
I was talking to the engineer guy. I wasn't talking to the.
He just looks at you and goes, "That's fine, but I'm telling you, I need credits." You get the indication that he's not planning to operate on credit. You'll pardon the pun.
Yes, we will get you your credits, my good sir.
And when would that be happening?
Soon.
Well, you're a veritable fountain of vague quantities here.
How about
Define
you
soon.
give us 12 hours?
All right, 12 hours. But if you try to leave before then, you're gonna have a rough time.
No, we are not planning on leaving.
Give us a few hours, Captain. What's the rest of it?
Captain here is very new.
Captain. Very new. Okay.
Mm,
Oh, great.
I don't
get
think.
one
I
of
don't
these every
think we
month.
need.
Guy just like reaches over to Doc, just hand over Doc's mouth at this point.
All right, I'll see you back here in 12 hours. So, just so if the ship gets towed with me on it, I swear to God.
Where's Annie?
So,
Where's Annie?
yeah, where is Annie?
Annie's here.
Did Annie just witness
What's
this?
Annie doing? Yeah.
I think Annie's just she's just amused. She wasn't gonna let you guys get into super hot water, but right now she's just having a good time.
Y'all having fun without your mom?
I believe
Yes.
that interaction went as well as it could have.
Guy starts angrily signing at the doctor. It's like, no. Also, keep your mouth shut when you're digging us into a ditch.
Mm.
Does Guy do this on text to speak
Oh,
or
in person
is...
at the doctor, like
Yeah.
right in the doctor's face, like looming
Okay.
in towards him.
Yes.
Does the doctor know sign language? I can't
Yeah.
remember who all does.
I would say the doctor probably doesn't know a lot of sign language, but probably knows some.
Okay,
Enough.
probably enough to catch
Enough to catch the
that
guy's
he's mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can
Eldarian,
Android
yes,
hear
Guy-
all this
Guy is mute.
happening?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that there's an open comm.
Well, all Android would hear from guys.
Sounds about right.
Mhm.
Annie does put a hand on Guy's shoulder and is just like, all right, let's move on now.
Okay. As you make your way into the actual space station, you do hear a loud clamping sound behind you. And Android, you can register that basically the space station just booted the ship so that you can't leave.
Right.
But everybody else, you see that the space station
Just had a boot
it's
put
kind of
on the car.
Yep. Kind of
Android is
circular. Yep. In layout. There's a lot of people. It's not like a super sterile, fancy, Apple type branding space station, but it's not like a seedy, hive of scum and villainy, if you will, either. It's somewhere in between. It looks lived in without being seedy and dirty. There's a lot of people going here and there. There's a lot of little businesses. It's set up sort of like a mall. You've got like a big window in front of every single store, and then each store has a small room where you can go in to shop for things. It looks like most people don't have their inventory set out. It's mostly like holograms, catalogs, that sort of thing, but there's a spot where you can talk to somebody and order different things. And there's other parts of the space station where you can do things like get food. There's a big open spot for people to just sit. Not unlike a mall food court. But it doesn't have that food court feel to it. It's just like a big open sitting area where people can meet. And there's even some spaces where you could order conference rooms, like rent them out for periods of time, things like that, if you needed to meet with somebody.
Wouldn't the android have told us where the contact is for the guns?
You don't currently have
There's
a
no
contact for the
contact.
guns, I don't think.
I just told you to go sell the freaking guns.
Yep. There's also some hotel rooms that are available for those that don't want to sleep on their ships. They want to change a pace, that sort of thing.
Huh.
But it's very loud. It's very bustling. There's a lot of people moving back and forth. What do you want to do?
I want to see if I can look around and see where the buyer is for.
I was kind of looking around to see if anything looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And beelining towards whatever looks familiar.
I am looking for buyers for guns.
Sorry, Alex, what were you looking for again?
What looks familiar? And Guy is beelining towards the first thing that looks familiar.
Gotcha. Probably like a advanced spaceship parts store. Instead of advanced auto, it's a advanced space store, something like that. It's got engine components and ship upgrades, things like that. You might notice.
Any android parts?
Probably not. You could specifically ask for them, and they might be able to help you find some, but
He's gonna,
at first glance, you don't notice any.
he's mostly just gonna like wander in there and start like taking a look at it with like a real serious eye sort of thing, like doing the whole accidentally muted myself. How a customer, when they go into a shop and they're like picking through things like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
To kind of give that sense of this person isn't somebody you can just easily give them the cheap shit for real expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna see if he's gonna get approached by anybody.
Not really. Not immediately, anyways. People there at the store seem to be kind of minding their own business, not paying a whole lot of attention to you at the moment. Hopping over to Jacques, you said you wanted to look for buyers for the gun.
Yeah, that would be more of a gut feeling than because it's illegal. But
it's not illegal on the space station.
Yeah.
The space station specifically is a free trade station,
wonderful.
So you can sell things like that. It's still a tricky item.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that has a lot more scrutiny, of course, but it's not like you are trying to sell this, in on a planet
So
with
would that be
restrictions
sight
and things like that.
or hearing or gut feeling?
None of the above, really.
Okay.
Unless, like, what specifically are you doing to look for somebody that wants to buy these weapons?
I don't believe there would be a directory, would there?
There is a station directory. Sort of a.
Well then,
You are here where you can go to find different places.
I would go to that.
Okay. As you look at it, you can see kind of all the stuff that I just listed off. Is there a specific type of format or venue that you would like to look for to sell the guns, like an auction?
I would just like to look for one that specializes in military equipment.
Okay, sure. You find we'll call them Guns R Us, the store that sells small arms and ship's weapons. And you see that they do have a small caveat that they also buy weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a gut feeling on this one, though.
20.
20? You get the feeling that if you were to sell it to them, you probably wouldn't get the most money for them. Kind of like if you go to a pawn shop and try to sell something, they're not going to give you what it's worth because they also have to make a profit.
Good thing I'm not negotiating the sale.
But that's what you find in the directory for specifically gun stores.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to look for any other type of venue where you could sell this, like an auction, perhaps, or want ads, anything like that?
We have 12 hours, so an auction would not be preferable. However, want ads, maybe.
Okay. Let's just do this. Evens or odds?
Evens.
It is odds. You find somebody looking for some small arms, but they're not looking for the amount that you have. They're looking for like maybe a quarter of it. But it does have their contact information. It does not say what they want with them, though. It just says they're looking for some guns, the quantity of guns, and their contact information.
The doctor will turn to Abby and say, "You are facilitating the sale of these, so what is your decision?" Gives her the options.
Annie doesn't seem entirely content with the options yet, so she just kind of says like, "Hey, let's keep looking."
Okay. Would Annie like to look for something?
Yeah. Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Quick question:
problem.
do they have the guns with them, or are they on the ship?
They are on the ship.
I was okay. I was a little unclear on that too, but I assumed on the ship.
We're leaving them with the person most likely to be able to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm. That is my thinking exactly.
That's fair.
In terms of where to look, Annie, let's try this. Annie looks to see if there are any like bars or anything on the space station.
Absolutely, there's a lot of them. As near as you can tell, there's a number of floors to the space station, and there seems to be like 1 to 2 bars per level.
Sorry, my phone
level
cut out
you're on
that
currently
time.
just-
What did you say about levels?
There's multiple levels to the space
Oh,
station. Each level seems to have 1 or 2 bars per level, and the one you're on currently just has the 1.
All right. So Annie wants to look for somebody on the level that they're on now. She just kind of wants to look around and see if she can spot someone who looks a little gruffer.
Sorry, where you are currently, or going to the bar?
No, so just from where they are on the level now, she just wants to see if she can find anybody who kind of looks a little rough around the edges.
Okay. We had a 4 plot points spent boon to Annie in searching for a place to sell the guns or selling the guns, either or. Yeah, you do see somebody that looks like they fit that description. They kind of look like somebody. If you looked at them, you'd go, "Huh, I wonder if they're a smuggler." Sort of that roguish Han Solo type look to them. And they do seem to be glancing around a lot, kind of taking in their surroundings, paying special attention to the people that are passing by, just a little more situationally aware than the average person.
All right. Annie does approach them. She makes sure that the rest stay behind, though. She approaches alone.
Okay.
The doctor will be drinking at the bar.
Okay, so Jacques is heading over to the bar.
Seltzer water.
Okay. So Jacques goes over to the bar, and Annie's going to talk to this person who's just out in the courtyard, basically, if you will. And you can tell he spots you immediately as you start walking towards him and watches you the whole way. He's just sitting down at a bench at the moment, just right next to the walkway. And as you approach, he just sort of gives you a nod, acknowledging your presence, and that's about it.
Annie takes a seat in the general vicinity, not too close. But she
There's like a
Good.
a bench next to that bench, kind of a deal.
Yeah, so she sits there. And the first thing she does is she just takes a pack of gum out of her pocket and has a piece and like offers it to them.
He just sort of glances at you out of the corner of his eye, and then slowly turns his head. What flavor is it?
Annie looks down at the package, and she looks up and she's like, I don't know, it's kind of one of those fusion kinds. So there's like lots of different flavors in there. It's very delightful.
No meat flavor in it, is there?
I'm sorry, meat?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it's not meat flavored, is it?
no, it's more like fruity.
That's called jerky.
He's like, oh, okay. Fruit's all right. He'll take a piece. He's like, I hate meat gum. He pops the piece of gum in his mouth and starts chewing.
Annie puts the pack of gum away, and she's like, never heard of meat gum before, but all right.
In the future, they have every type of gum, apparently. You meat gum, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So she sits for a minute, and she keeps to herself, minds her own business. She does a little bit more people watching, and then she kind of sits back on the bench, and she puts one arm up on the back of it and kind of settles in a little bit. And without turning to look at him, she's just like, so, like, what kind of work you do?
Does that slow, like, glances at you out of the corner of his eye, then slowly turns his head again. It's like, imports and exports.
She nods slowly.
You get the sense that he's a man of few words.
She nods slowly, and she kind of shoots him a little bit of a smile. And then she goes back to looking around at the people there. She goes, oh, that's actually kind of funny, because we're looking to export some stuff. My crew and I are looking to get rid of some stuff, so I was maybe wondering if you had any advice for us.
Well, advice around these parts doesn't usually come for free, but if you're looking to move some merchandise, I might be able to help you.
Well, naturally things don't come for free. We kind of gathered that. But if you can help me get the best price on the merchandise that we're hoping to export, then I'm sure there could be a little bit of something extra in there for you as well.
Alright, what is it I'd be selling or moving?
We've got a lot of guns. And she lowers her voice and like looks around, make sure that she's not speaking too loud.
Guns. Alright. We talking small arms, military grade, ship guns? What kind of guns are we talking about?
Well, there's a good, I would say a good mixture of decent range of weapons. Couple smaller ones, couple bigger ones.
Kind of looks at you funny and goes, "Is that a pun?"
Is there a pun in that?
No.
Okay, I was kind of confused. Although Raven,
It's
to be
a
honest with you,
euphemism. It's not a pun.
there you go. But you can never be sure because Raven and her puns, and sometimes I don't get them.
That's fair.
But euphemism, okay, I get you. Annie just kind of gives a little smile at that. She doesn't say anything.
Okay. He's like, well, I might be able to do that. Where I'm heading next has got a lot of people that would be interested in something like that. I could do something on consignment. That's how I normally do things, but you seem, something about you can't quite put my finger on. Player knowledge is because you got a boon. I think I could, maybe do some consignment, some up front.
Annie takes a little bit of a moment. And she doesn't say much. And she kind of looks over and she says, well, do you have a business card or anything? And she kind of like smiled a little bit. She'd be a little bit flirty.
Okay. Kind of looks at you a little funny. Tilts his head. He's like, "Did I miss a joke?"
It's payback for the other
Raven,
joke.
I love this ace character so much.
He's like, "Did I miss a joke?"
Annie waves her hand. She's
You're all-
like, no, it's fine. Yeah.
Oh, you were just smiling like something's funny.
No, you know what? Sometimes I just laugh at myself. But she waves a hand, and her expression gets a little more serious. And she's like, "Well, you know, I'm kind of keeping my options open. I'm, you know, taking a look to see what's offered to me. But I'd certainly like to keep you in mind."
Okay, well, yeah. What's your I don't know, like the equivalent to your email address?
And she just looks at him like, "How about you give me your contact information and I'll be in touch."
Just kind of shrugs and lists off like imports exports at acme.com or something like that type email address. Something super generic and discreet.
Perfect. So yeah, Annie doesn't really say much else, but she gets up, kind of gives a little wink, and then goes back to join the others.
As Annie leaves, the camera just sort of lingers on this guy. He just kind of shrugs and goes, "Oh, funny sort of girl." Pulls the gum out of his mouth, looks at it for a second. Good gum, though. Pops it back in his mouth and keeps chewing.
I thought you said pulls a gun out of his mouth.
That's what I heard too. I was like, oh my god.
Same.
Woman or no?
No, didn't you know in the future you have mouth guns?
Of course.
It
Just like a little cheek holster.
It just puts the whole conversation in a different light. Some guy just with his gun in his mouth. Like,
It's like a miniature
About
gun.
it.
It's like a tiny little gun. It's just a cheek holster. You pull it out with your tongue. Oh gosh, no, the gum from his mouth. Okay, where does Annie head from there?
Where's
As Annie turns around, like, Guy's gone. Jacques kind of gone as well.
No,
you can
Jacques
see.
still there. Observing.
No, Jacques went to the bar. Annie is not at the bar.
Yeah.
I
I
So
would
you
be
might be
in
able-
a position to observe. and take
Annie?
notes.
Okay.
Annie pulls up comms with Android and asks her to like do a quick search on the contact information that she has, just to see what comes up.
Okay.
okay. What would I roll for that?
Let's do
That's
tech engineering to look it up on the internet.
8.
An 8. Oof, that's a bad roll. I'm gonna say like you mistyped the address, and it comes up just like 404 not found.
Did I not actually put my points in? I'm starting to wonder if I didn't.
It looks like you've got. What is this? You've got 4 plus 2. Yeah, that looks like you've got decent points. You just rolled a 2.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Plus 2 would not help at this moment, but it might on this next roll. I'm going to say that you notice your typo and are able to try again.
Yay. 18.
It would help here. Eldarian or Eldarian. Since they were asking about a +2. There you
Oh,
go.
thank you.
Redeemed a plot point for a +2, which will make it a 20. And yeah, as you pull up the information, sort of like a background search, like a very basic one, and immediately you see entries with little like red triangle exclamation point caution signs. And I think that's a good spot for us to take a quick break since I forgot to do the break earlier. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes and we'll find out what those caution signs mean. And what's going on with the Jacques and Guy, and if you actually can sell these guns or not. We'll be right back in about 10 minutes. Love that expression, Alex. That's great. Okay, so Annie has met with our sort of nameless smuggler, who's really only going by imports and exports at acme.com. Also, a quick explanation for why there's a cord running out of my head. My Bluetooth transmitter on my headphones has died for some reason. Apparently, it didn't charge in between sessions today, so it was dying. So you have to see a funny cord out of my head right now. So I believe we were going to hop either to Guy or Jacques. Jacques, you were observing from a safe distance away. We also did some clarification on the break. So Jacques is actually on a bench far enough away not to really overhear the conversation, but was able to watch the whole conversation. So as Annie is walking away, what do you do, Jacques?
As Annie's walking away, Jacques just stands up and like, so how did it go?
Annie points to her comms and is just like, just waiting on some information back from the android.
Wonderful. We need to inform Guy.
Can they reach Guy on comms?
Sure. Yeah. The comms are sort of like a Star Trek type deal, so it's like you push it and you can talk to everybody at once. I mean, Guy could technically turn his off or take it out of his ear, but
Don't do that, Guy, please.
I'll do it to get it payback at Lisa.
No.
And Jacques' other part.
Oh yes, Gwen did that quite a bit.
yeah,
Payback,
that's
what's
true.
Do?
You turned off comms on beta.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, that was
Sari. That was.
Yeah, that was Riley that did that all the time in the other
Riley
game.
did that all the time. Ping was the one telling her to stop.
Oh God, no! Ping was mom.
Yeah,
Oh,
Riley
like mom
and,
again.
Yeah.
Riley and Gwen's character as well.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of Android, I forgot my brain is very scrambled today. Kind of like Guy's eggs from earlier. But Android, you were looking at the background search on our nameless smuggler. And you see a bunch of different things like arrested for possession of illegal substances, and like the code that's attached to it is like not like drugs or anything like that, but like counterfeit goods. One of them is for illegal guns. There's not more description than that. Also, there's probably one of like yeah, we're gonna go with exotic animals.
Okay.
Without a license.
Okay.
And one that might be a particular note to Android is Android parts. Unlicensed, illegal Android parts.
The person you requested information on has a storied background of illegal arms dealing, illegal animal smuggling, android parts, illegal as well. This man seems to get caught a lot.
Ah.
That is over like the course of his adult career,
Okay, fine.
so it may not necessarily be a lot, but he's definitely had run-ins with the law.
But if you are looking for somebody who would be interested in these items, he seems to be suitable.
All right. Thanks, Android. So Annie sends out a message for Seattle, just asking Where are you?
Would the doctor have heard that conversation?
Yeah, I would have used it on general
Probably.
comm.
Okay, so Guy would have heard as well.
Looking at what's the next line?
Ship upgrades.
Looking at ship upgrades. Okay.
I am unaware of any upgrades the ship is in particular need of. But that is not my area of expertise.
Guns.
You know, what'd be useful
Have
would
we
be
sold the
shields.
guns?
I don't have any guns for the
No,
ship.
we don't have any guns or shields.
The ship has
I
guns.
thought the ship
the
had guns.
Oh, right.
Oh,
The shuttle doesn't have
Shuttle
guns.
doesn't.
Oh.
That's probably what you're thinking
Oh.
of. Yeah, the ship does have guns. It also has okay. It also has armored plating, and it's not like Star Trek shields. It's like think like Star Trek Enterprise type shielding, where it's like reinforced armor plating. So like you can turn structural integrity, if you will, electricity type stuff to the armor plating to make it more durable. Never know, might find something good. Okay.
Keep in mind, we do not know how much money there will be after we unimpound this ship.
and whose fault is that?
If you're implying mine, no.
I'm sorry, I was not piloting. I was not piloting.
I was not the one negotiating poorly.
Not buying, just
Looking.
looking.
That is fine. Carry on.
Can't quite read the bottom part. Doc, shut up.
Annie just kind of sends out another message and is just like, okay, well, maybe we should all get together and discuss this. If you want to meet us, so that we can kind of go over everything.
That was sorry. That was to who?
That was to everybody.
Okay. Where are you?
Where was that?
I would give
section of the-
Guy the name of the bar.
You were gonna say something, Vanessa?
Oh no, I was just gonna say were the benches closer to where we entered.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the entrance.
All right, guys, you're sitting back that way. By the way, I've updated the sign.
Shut up. What's that bottom?
Doc, Cap, Sparky, Little Mouse. It's a mouse silhouette.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Nice. I
little
get
mouse
it.
silhouette. See, there's the
That's
there's
awesome.
the body, there's the ear, there's the nose, and then there's the tail.
That's cute. Okay, so I'm going to say you all meet up near the entrance. You've got one potential contact that can help you sell the stuff. That's about it so far.
Can I, before I meet up with anyone, can I don't know, like check some kind of station roster? to see who
Sure.
might be interested in this kind of stuff?
Sure. You have access to the same directory that everyone else saw, and you could also you do like some net searching with that information.
Okay, what would I
We
roll?
go into more detail. Let's go with tech engineering.
Goody, because that's been so great for me today.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Jesus H.
Oh my god.
You
Oh
almost
my
did it.
god.
I pulled
You
I pulled
have-
up an Angel Fire page at this point. Like,
Oh my god, I haven't heard that name in a very long time. Yeah, you've got good stats in this. That's weird. It's just you keep rolling really bad on that. You mistype in the password. Try again.
okay.
I'm fine with re-rolls on this because it's not
22.
in the heat of the moment or anything. 22, awesome. With a 22, yes, you find more information. It's so old school, it's new. So with a 22, what exactly would you like to find out? So you're looking for people that might be interested, but what type of person are you looking for?
I'm looking for basically kind of like the smuggler-esque type. Like, I'm going to be looking like ship classifications, like
Okay.
places that, like, it basically indicators that there are people here who would want this stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, you find a lot of information. You find there's a lot of established businesses on the station that might buy it, much like a pawn shop type deal.
Mhm.
So easy sell, probably,
Okay.
but less profit.
Right.
Including Guns R Us, the one that Jacques found. You also find that they do have like an open auction area where people can run auctions with any time length that they would like. Tends to always be busy. There's always people there.
Okay. So auctioning
and
isn't a
you-
slow process.
It can be, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
There's auctions available for all types of time lengths. I think the shortest one is probably like an hour.
Okay.
So they do have like pretty quick auctions here.
Okay.
So it's like the
And then
Neopets
you
auction
find a
house.
That is where I learned about
Sure.
economy.
I'm not
Me too,
entirely
it's how I
sure.
learned about stocks.
Yeah, econ stocks, that's how I learned about it. I mean, high school is
Oh, that's
fine,
funny.
I guess, but like, I learned how economy functions through Neopets back in the day.
I do have to say this though, and you're all gonna hate me, but this auction area takes place in one of the bays of the space station, sort of an A bay or auction
Oh
bay.
my god.
Are you sure it's not the eBay?
It could be eBay. Maybe that's what they call it around there. But the sign says A bay for auction bay. I told you were all going to hate me, but it had to be said. You also find a couple of ships that fit the description as well, including one registered to a certain imports and exports at acme.com.
Okay, well, I will take that information with me then. And I will straighten my...
Wait. You got a 22. I will also give you this. The name registered to that ship as the captain is Ren, which for the player's knowledge benefit, there were plot points bit earlier introducing a character named Ren.
Okay,
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
gotcha. Then I will
That they might be important.
straighten my skirt and leave the ship.
Okay. I assume you locked the door behind you.
Bleep bleep.
Cool. Just double checking. So you all meet up, kind of where Annie was talking to Ren. What's the plan?
Is everyone here now?
Yes.
Everyone except Sparky, who's still mysteriously missing.
Is Sparky still refusing to join us?
I have no idea where Sparky is.
Yeah, it would seem that Spark is down for the count for this one.
Well,
Actually, let's do this. Have the android roll a sight check to see if you would have noticed something on your way out, since you did leave after everyone else.
21.
Yeah, you notice Sparky's comm is sitting right next to the airlock.
Lovely.
So they took it off right before they left.
Well, Sparky has voluntarily removed himself from voting in any of this, so we will disregard him. But it seems we have many options regarding selling these weapons. The person you presented me with, like I said, seems knowledgeable and seems storied. There are also many auctions that run quickly and rapidly, as we are on a time limit.
I guess the question is, if we go through one of the faster methods, we might not be looking at as much profit as we would like. And given that we already have a bill to pay, and she looks at androids like, no shade, it happens. But seeing as we do already have a bill to pay, we might want to look into a little bit of a slower option. I mean, like you said, this person clearly doesn't have any reservations about what sorts of goods they can potentially take. So in terms of a bigger payout, that's probably the best bet.
His name is Ren. I found him registered to a ship.
Well, at least we have good confirmation on that then.
Relative to the number of years he has been operating, has his convictions been high or low?
It seems to be less of a matter of conviction so much as he gets caught and somehow ends up doing it again very shortly afterwards.
So not terribly concerning.
No. Or he simply has very good representation.
Which could be of interest in and of itself.
True.
Mm-hmm. I would like to get to know his representation, if that is the case.
So the only thing then about going through Rin as an option is that he does some through consignment. I was told that we could get some of the sum up front and then the rest would be on consignment. But in order to do it in that manner, I did promise some sort of extra compensation.
Did you get a solid percentage?
Nope, just contact information and the potential deal of extra compensation. So I'm sure the discussion would still be open. It's just a matter of figuring out if that's the route we want to take first, and then we can contact him.
I would say start with a number. Or, and if the number is too high, we negotiate a percentage of the sale.
Guy seems to be writing something down in response to you. Guy has a lot to say.
That is A-okay.
Lay it on us.
He has to know what we are selling to even give a number.
So he does know that we're selling an, array of guns.
Guy, do you suggest that we physically allow him to see the guns?
Yeah,
Take a picture?
take a picture.
Give him an image. We could certainly do that. Am I able to just use some of the security cameras and upload a picture into myself?
Not exactly. I mean, you could take a picture of the closed containers, but to really get a sense of what's actually in them, you would need to take new pictures,
Gotcha.
in person, or let them take a look at the ship.
Well, I suppose the first step would be to bring him into this negotiation.
I guess my biggest concern was just that I didn't want to give him the go-ahead to come in and see the guns on the ship without consulting with you guys first. So if you're good to go with it, then I have no objections.
Appreciated. He may approach. And Kendroid's just gonna get up and walk away.
Okay. Is she walking back to the ship
Yeah.
or on the space? Okay. Okay. Who wants to call Ren then?
Annie can do it.
Annie has. Yeah.
Okay. So you call him up, and he goes, "Oh yeah, you're the funny girl."
So I discussed with the rest of the crew, and we would like to kind of give you an idea of what we're selling, and then discuss some numbers. So I was wondering if you wanted to come and appraise the guns.
There's just a pause. Yeah, I can do that.
Where shall we meet you?
Well, unless you want to haul your inventory through the whole station, which I wouldn't recommend, probably best I come to you.
Yeah, no, sounds good. If you want to, currently we're by the entrance. If you'd like to come and join up with us, then we can bring you back to the ship.
All right, I'll be right there. And he hangs up. And a few minutes later, you see him sort of casually sauntering up. All right, where's your ship?
Is the ship far from the entrance, or?
No, it's a short walk. You basically parked, talked to the foreman, and then basically stepped down a hallway, and you were into the big hustle and bustle of everything.
Ah, sweet. Okay, well, yeah, Annie just basically says, yeah, it's like a minute walk. We're just around the way there.
Android is standing politely
Okay.
by the door.
As Ren passes you, Android, kind of pauses and looks. Have we met?
Unfamiliar.
Kind of squints, looks at your arms a little bit. He's like, might have met your parts at some point.
It is possible.
Oh well. He just sort of shrugs and follows everybody inside. He seems to be kind of not exactly disinterested, but doesn't seem overly interested, I guess, in the surroundings, the ship, anything like that. Not at all like he did when he was on the space station, paying attention to every little person that walked by. but you notice he's specifically not like staring at the walls or taking inventory of your ship or anything like that. He's kind of just staring straight ahead as you all go to the
I definitely still
okay.
in the guns.
Okay.
Basically, kind of like making sure things are open and things look half decently on display.
Okay. As soon as he walks in, he takes a look at everything, goes, okay, yep, pretty standard stuff here. Nothing particularly worrisome. I can move this stuff easy. If you want to give me a full inventory, which android you would have on hand.
Okay.
If you send it to him, he'll take a look at it. Go, yep. Like I said, I usually only do this stuff on consignment, but I don't know, something about y'all seems interesting. I wouldn't mind keeping in touch, and I just had a run of good fortune, so I'll pass some of it along. I'll give you 50% of what all this is worth, and then I'll sell the rest on consignment and send you profits as I make the sales.
How much are we looking at?
He kind of looks over the list again, and you can see him sort of counting on his fingers. Carry the zero. 50,000.
Annie looks to the other crew members just to kind of see where they're at with that.
That seems to be an adequate amount. It would get us rations and this boot off of our ship.
It's definitely enough. However, I still don't know what his percentage is. I don't think it really matters at this point because we don't really need to negotiate, but I would at least like to know.
Basically, just out of character talking, if you go with this deal, you'll get 50% of what the whole amount's worth up front, and then you'll just get a steady stream of income after that, in much smaller quantities, of course. But it basically sets up recurring revenue for your crew, assuming he keeps his word. But as far as like actual percentages, out of character, it's a number that sounds good to the crew.
It's a decent number for the situation we're in right now.
Yeah.
It's the best we're gonna get, basically.
Yes, I would still like to know what the number is.
Without directly trying to sell them yourselves, this does seem like a pretty good deal. 50% is probably what you would get at the pawn shop.
Gotcha.
But we wouldn't get the trickle of income afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Can I roll, like, I don't know, like a gut feeling or something just to make sure that Annie feels good about it?
Absolutely.
Same.
There's a couple of different things you can roll here. You can do gut feeling, or you can do education to see if you know like the value of these guns, if this is a fair deal, that sort of thing.
Wait, did I roll the right one? 5, 6, 7.
My
Yeah,
education is not in
So-
guns.
Okay, so yeah, Guy doesn't know anything. Jacques, was that 14 gut feeling
Gut
or education?
feeling, yes.
You don't have a bad feeling about Ren, but you're not really. Your gut is indifferent in this situation. Annie, you're still probably feeling a little bit nervous about it because it's a big transaction. But you have a pretty good feeling about Ren. You don't feel like this guy would screw the party over. And 50,000 for the amount is pretty good. It would allow you to take care of the repairs that you now have to pay for, refuel, which is a big expense, Basically, this would allow you to keep operating the ship for a while, and or possibly buy some personal items.
Okay. Annie has no complaints.
Okay, so sounds like everybody's on board then.
Mm-hmm.
Exchanging
Says, "All right,
contact
perfect."
information with your ship.
All right. I don't really deal with accounts so much, so y'all wouldn't mind just turning around. I need to retrieve the money.
Would you like to go to a secure, non-monitored location to do that?
No, this is fine. Just turn around. Is everybody turning around?
Yeah,
Annie
I
just like
guess.
looks around at the others like, what the fuck?
Android turns around.
Jacques.
Okay.
Well, sorry. Yeah. Seattle is, covering his face mostly.
Annie's just like,
Okay.
sir, you're not taking that money out of your pants, are you?
I am not at liberty to disclose where this money is being stored.
Our pocket's not a suitable place for credits to be stored.
Not on this space station. Not 50,000 worth of credits.
Why would we need to turn around for him to access his pockets?
It's a good
Look,
question.
just do
Andrew.
it, okay?
Annie, against her better
What was-
judgment, turns around.
What was that, Alex? It's so funny how paranoid and what some of you think this actually is. Okay,
The
So
very
Annie's turned
definition of
around.
back pocket.
guy is covering his face mostly. Android's turned around. Is Jacques turned around?
Jacques is going out of the room.
Okay, so Jacques leaves the room. So those in the room, you do hear pants unzipping, and the shuffling of fabric. You hear duct tape sound, like a Velcro, something like that type of ripping sound.
God.
And then pants being, shuffle fabric, pants being zipped back up. And I was like, all right, y'all can turn around. You just hear pants unzipping. That's great. So in character, your character should probably imagining whatever you will. Was Guy peeking?
Oh yeah,
at all?
Guy was basically figuring probably another trans dude who uses a packer as a pocket sometimes.
No, it's not that. He just he's got like the cartoon style boxers on underneath his pants, by the way. So like the big polka dots, and he just had it like duct taped to his thigh.
Ow! Scars. That duct tape can take off skin.
We'll say it's the duct tape that doesn't peel off your skin, but yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
he's a thinker.
Low tack duct tape.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like
or
safe
it's
for skin
Velcro.
duct tape. Well, Velcro's still got to be attached to something. So yeah, just like taped to the. Oh my god!
Wow.
No, he definitely doesn't have any hair there now.
Oof.
Yeah, it's just like a Ziploc container or like bag that's been filled with the credits. And it was just taped to his inner thigh. And so he's like, turn around.
Well, that's significantly better than I was expecting, so.
Y'all immediately going for the
A prison
the
pocket?
back pocket. Yeah.
Yes, the back pocket.
Nope, it was
Orifice.
just all strapped to his thigh. I think he probably gives Annie and Android a look too. Is like, seeing that expression on your faces, undoubtedly, or at least Annie. When, where did you think I was good? Never mind. Here's the money. He pulls it out of the little bag and hands it to Annie.
Annie feels more comfortable taking it, seeing that it's coming out of a bag, so she does take the money.
Darian said, I would think in that age everybody would use cryptocurrencies. You'd think. But this is like, it's like the equivalent of cash. Take the money but not the bag. Yeah. Just to be clear, the bag looks perfectly clean and fine. Nothing weird about it other than it just has some tape on it. But yeah, he hands that to you and says, all right, I'll have somebody come and grab the guns. And you can see him putting in a call to his ship. Assuming nobody has any objections, within 30 minutes or so, there's a couple of people that come with Rin, and the three of them load up everything onto like a dolly and burn it off.
Android just watches the whole time, with her hands folded.
Okay. Rin, during this whole thing, Rin does keep glancing at you, Android, and scratching the back of his head. You can see him like really staring at like your arms and different components. Like if this was somebody staring at like a human, you'd be pretty sure that they were like seriously perving out on you. But in this case, it's not that. He's just staring at your components. But that's the type of intense staring.
Yeah, he is.
Damn it, Vanessa.
We found the Robofile.
You know, I've been saying that all freaking week because it keeps popping in my head.
What?
Yeah, that's why I figured
missed-
I'd slip one in there for you.
I missed
Thanks.
that completely.
Oh, just the yeah, he is. It happened a lot on Tickfall on Wednesday. It was funny.
Android is simply going to say, does something of my construction perturb you?
I'm just kind of curious. I got picked up for hauling parts. I had parts like that at one point. I did that gig for a while, and it was not the normal police officers that I had to talk to when I got picked up for that, and so I quit that pretty quick from that point. But I never really seen any of those parts put into use, and so you look like you've got some, I always say, aftermarket parts. I was just kind of curious.
Do they do this? And she's going to extend the arm blades.
He kind of leaves his head back. He's like, whoa, yep, that was certainly one of them.
Where did you transfer these parts to?
Just kind of scratches the back of his head and scrunches up his face a little bit. It's been a while. I can't really remember. I could probably find it. I could look it up for you and send it to you.
That would be requested, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And with that, he gets all the weapons loaded up. He gets ready to leave, and he goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, I'm not usually one to guilt people or anything like that. That's not really what I'm doing, but if you could, be doing you this favor, just maybe we can look out for each other. I do you a favor, you do me a favor. In the future."
That could certainly be arranged. However, I am not the captain.
Jacques
Like,
walks
right.
back-
He looks at Addie and goes, "Does that work for you?"
Yeah, that sounds good.
Does Jacques say anything?
Jacques walks back into the room at this point.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Jacques probably walking back in as he's talking to Annie, like Annie's the captain.
Jacques says nothing.
Okay. He goes, okay. Appreciate it. I'll be in contact with the sales and information your android requested.
Before you leave, I have a few questions for you.
All right, shoot.
First of all, in case we get into any sticky situations, do you have good representation?
Yes, you could say that.
Wonderful. If you could, well, I'll let you keep that information if you want. But should we need it, I would like to contact you. Second question.
Also, real quick, Eldarian, yes, that's exactly kind of what I'm thinking the money looks like. Just not quite that small. Some more like regular SD cards instead of micro SD.
Second question.
Do
you know a cryptographer?
Crypto who?
Someone who breaks codes or makes codes.
Well, wasn't quite finished answering your first question, but I feel like this is going to answer both. My representation might know something about that, but my representation's not exactly the kind that you just call up and hire.
Exactly.
They're the kind that you kind of
yes.
join, and then they continue to be your representation until you're dead.
Exactly what I was thinking when you said that. So I would be very interested in that. I don't know about the rest of the crew.
Okay, just know that they're not going to charge you money. They're going to charge you something that's going to be more expensive.
Guy.
And Guy is frantically pointing to the dock. Shut up.
I'm absolutely interested, though.
Annie,
All
Annie
right,
just
well,
picks up and she's
Guy
like, well, I think that's
smacks
maybe...
Doc over the back of the head with the paddle. It makes a soft donk noise.
Yeah.
My crew is malfunctioning. Please leave.
Okay, that's the raid cry. It's amazing. He's like, yeah, I'll let you see to that, and I'll send you the information, but just my recommendation is if you don't really need this type of representation, don't make that deal. Like, I'm fine with myself, but if I'd had the option, I would have probably said no.
Noted. And she's doing that kind of polite ushering thing that like a butler or somebody would do, like, yes, I hear you, please go away.
Continuing to walk. He's like, right, yeah.
All I picture is Space Barney.
Oh my god, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
From Tickfall. Okay. He leaves with the guns and the people.
As he leaves, Annie does say thank you, though.
He just sort of holds his hand up and does like the one wave hand move without turning around.
Candroid
Just holding his
curtsies
hand up.
because that's what she does.
Okay.
And closes the
Yeah,
airlock.
Jacques rubs the back of his head.
Annie just puts her hands on her hips and she's like, well, that could have gone a lot worse.
You're not wrong.
And then she turns around and she's like, quick, do we have any wood in here? Somebody knock on wood.
Why would we do that? Why would we have wood?
It's a thing, you know, like knock on wood to keep the jinx. You know, you don't want to jinx yourself.
Doc doesn't get to be
Clearly.
I do not understand why wood would prevent you from speaking in the same time as somebody. That is my understanding of the word jinx.
Oh, Android's so great.
You know what, Candroid? Never mind. We're good.
Are you malfunctioning? Do you require wood for fixing?
Annie just blows out a breath. Like she's like, no, I'm good. We're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
There we go. Great cry for later. Okay, so you've got you've got the gun sold. You've got money to pay for the repairs, and you've got money to do things like buy fuel, which is really expensive, buy food, but yeah, 50,000 credits, well, 49,000 credits is a pretty good operating budget. You could get some really fancy stuff and a lot of really nice food, things like that, and budget yourself out for a short duration. Or you can be more minimalistic and make that last a longer amount of time. But I will save that decision for next week, so that we can have Sparky here in on that as well, and we'll also cover what Sparky's been up to this whole time next week. Before we do wrap everything up, though, and go on a raid, is there anything else anybody wanted to do on this specific day?
Guy's gonna go out and find a gay bar. And he's gonna go out dancing. Because fuck all y'all.
Oh.
Android's gonna read
Just because I
colloquialisms, because y'all say weird shit.
And Jacques is going to research this person's contact. Looking into
okay. All right, if that's everything, then we're gonna go on a raid. So before we do that, we're gonna do our favorite moments and everything else. Starting with Goody. What was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And anything else you'd like to share?
Favorite part. Just Captain being passive aggressive and being like, no, figure it out yourself. For a while.
That's pretty great.
Because, like, well, you don't need me, so, you know, fine.
That was pretty great.
But, yeah, I will be here next week. Same time, same bat channel. And, yeah, that's just about it.
All right. Next, we've got Jacques. What was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And anything else you'd like to share?
Oh. If I had to choose a favorite part, it would have to be Annalise negotiating with the shady smuggler. It'd be
With Ren?
Yes, to all of that. That was beautiful.
That's cool.
You can find me next here. You can find Susie next Monday. Whatever that game is going to be.
Yes. Empires and Epitaphs. Mondays, 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. All right. Next, we've got Alex. What's your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And anything else you'd like to share?
Oh, you can find me next here on Tuesdays, or anytime really on Twitter at AAgentBoss. My favorite part, the fact that you guys made me have to make an actual shut up sign. I
I did
I'm
not
actually
mean
gonna
to
have
do
to
that.
make a proper shut up paddle with things painted on there so they don't rub off when I'm tapping them.
I did not mean to do that.
It wasn't just you, to be fair. He was thinking it a number of times the last couple of games, and it was just like, I need a shut up paddle. I need something that's faster than writing shut up every time.
I need to shut up
Also,
more.
also to be fair, the audience voted 20 minutes before you got into Big Trouble, and it was like a solid 50. So
Yeah.
We beat
Go
them.
above and beyond.
We didn't get in trouble.
To be honest, I was the one who voted for 10 minutes, so egg on my
Nice.
face.
Well, you didn't get egg on your face. I didn't screw it up that bad.
That's egg and potato, yeah. All right, and did you already say where we can find you next and all that?
Yeah, you can find me next here on Tuesday for the water game, where I try not to
Yes.
drown, or eaten by bobbit
or
leeches,
get eaten.
or fucking
Yes.
shark gars, and the fucking Gregorian carps.
The carp chanters. Yeah.
Gregorian carps. You specified it was
Gregorian-
Gregorian chanting.
Yes. This game, they basically the entire planet is trying to kill them,
It's fun. We
Um,
haven't died yet.
which is impressive. So that's well done. But yes, Tuesday, that's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Next, we've got Vanessa. What was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And anything else you'd like to share?
In terms of favorite parts, just the entirety of Seattle being exasperated and wanting to smack some fools. Other than that, Annie being a smooth talker, Vanessa not so much. So that's always a challenge. 'Cause in my mind, I know that she's good at doing her job, but am I good at that job? Absolutely not. Other than that,
You're probably better than you think.
well, that's good. Other than that, you can find me here on Wednesday for more Tikfa. And you can also check out my coffee page and my art Twitter. My art Twitter is my handle below there, Peppero Draws. It's pepper like the candy. And I'll pop my coffee page in the chat.
Fantastic. My favorite part, the whole thing was really good. But probably the interaction between Ren and Annie right at the very beginning. Because it was just really quirky and fun. So I enjoyed that interaction. But I also quite enjoyed all of Android's various conversations. Yeah, the whole thing was really good. And I am excited that you're finding little tiny clues here and there to this mystery. And I'm hoping that you pick up on some more of those next week, because there's definitely some things that were missed this week that might have given you more information. So there's still more information to be had. With that, we're going to go on a raid. Where you can find me next, I should say. I'll be producing Monday morning is Fleshmaker's Folly. 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then Monday night, I will be playing in Empires and Epitaphs, DM'd by Insanity TTRPG. And it's a really, really fun game. Really great cast there as well. So definitely check that out. That's 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I think that's everything. So we're gonna go on a raid. We're gonna go raid Zweihander RPG. So they make a pretty neat tabletop system that I play in over on Encounter Roleplay on Wednesdays during the day. And it's a good group of folks. So definitely give them a follow if you're not doing so already. And then I will see you all on Monday. Bye, everybody.